Hello everyone, welcome to Anonymous World. Hope you are doing well. So this is the fifth episode of Security Talks, and today I have Linish Kalbande, lead security engineer at Armor Code, with me. So let's get started. Before starting, a huge shout out to Aman Mishra and Itachi Uchiha for joining the membership and supporting me. You can also join the membership by clicking on the join button. So let's get started. Hi,
Hey, hi. Hey, how are you?
fine. How are you?
Hey, I'm also good.
First of all, welcome to my channel and thank you for taking out your time and for joining me for today's episode. So, how about we start with you sharing a bit about yourself, how you joined cybersecurity field, like something motivated you or someone is your inspiration.
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. Uh, yeah, I started in cybersecurity in the year 2016. I started my career with core engineering companies, and then I moved into cybersecurity in 2016. So basically, there was one product which was IoT enabled product, and we were doing security testing of that product. So that was the time when I started, and after that, I took a career gap of 15 months, and I went for higher studies, and then I joined Armor Code, and I've been working with Armor Code for almost 3 years now. And the inspiration means the use cases itself, yeah, is an inspiration for us. When I move into cybersecurity, basically the use case which was there, that itself blown away my mind, and that was the reason, because there was one uh, in the product itself which took huge attention from everybody, and everybody started focusing on security. So that was the reason, and that was the inspiration, the use case, customer use case.
That's great. It's great to know a bit about you. So,
Yeah.
you have a profile in compliance and auditing too. So, nowadays there are many freshers or maybe some experienced people too who might not know about compliance and editing and they just focus on pen testing and stuff. So, if I were to explain someone compliance and auditing in simpler terms, like its role and impact, so how can I explain it in layman terms?
Yeah, basically that's a very good question which you have raised. Basically nowadays I have seen a lot of people are focusing on offensive security, but no one is focusing on defensive side of the security, which is very important from industry perspective. Because everyone nowadays are more fascinated or more inclined towards the bounties which they are getting after identifying the issues. So yeah, people, there is a perception in the security industry that PCI DSS or HIPAA or GDPR, whatever compliances are there, they are very boring and they are only for to get the certification. And people always say that compliance is not security. So yeah, it's true, compliance is not security, but you have to keep in mind that this compliance will always make your security posture good, because they play a key role, in order to enhance your security. Now, the question you ask, how I can explain it to the layman. So basically, they are all frameworks. When we say compliance, compliances are basically framework, and they are the regulatory frameworks. And data, basically data is segregated into different form, like uh, some data belonging to the personal information, some data belongs to the healthcare information, or some data is typically related with the automotive industry. So basically these are all compliances which segregate your data, and which for example, if you are into healthcare industry, so HIPAA is applicable to. If you are with you are working with personal information, then probably GDPR is applicable to you. For automobile there is a different standard. So basically, in layman terms, these are all standards which are industry confined, and which are data confined. So basically, your data will define which standard is applicable to you. And and the compliance is basically, yeah, it's a theoretical job. Basically, a lot of controls would be there, and that controls are applicable to your organization or your industry that we have to look into. And yeah, but basically it's nothing about it is nothing but the compliances which are nothing but these rules, the controls which are applicable to your industry.
Yeah.
and which help you to enhance your security.
Okay, so we can say that for different industries or department, there are certain types of laws which you need to follow beyond pen testing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So as I already said that HIPAA is applicable to healthcare industry, then for personal identification information, GDPR is applicable. Similarly, if someone want to have certification in ISO, which are information security related compliance. So basically, they have to go with ISO 27001. So these are all basically industry specific and data specific compliances which people have to follow.
And also being involved in cybersecurity community, I heard of a new term, orchestration, which is in rise in appsec community. So how does what exactly is orchestration, and what role does it play in ensuring appsec security that goes beyond pen testing and compliance?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head. Basically, it is very fascinating term, at the same time very important term that industry is looking into. But it is not only the term, but the orchestration itself is an entire concept which enhance your application security. And I will explain you with example how it enhance the application security. So primitive approach of security is like we were doing some scans on the application, maybe dash scan or SAS scan or SCA scan. If you're using code, in infra code, then we run IAC. And typically what people were doing, they generate those report and it will go to the development team. That is the typical approach which industry follow. And what eventually security person will do, he will analyze those data. Once the analysis is done, that report will be shared with the team, maybe with various business unit within the industry. So that was the typical approach, primitive approach, I can say, which people were doing. But with the help of orchestration, now you get the holistic view of your application. For example, if a 100 application, earlier people were don't even know that 100 applications are there, or which application belongs to which business unit. That itself is a concern. Even code repositories are there, lot of code available uh, uh, within the organization, but they themselves don't know that this particular code is applicable to them or not, whether the repository is dormant or whether that application itself is obsolete or not. So these are all issues which industry were facing. But with the help of orchestration tool, what is happening? Let's say I have a GitHub, and I have a GitLab. I have done integration with the orchestration tool. So what will have? I will have all the repositories, all the application, or all the services which I have used with the help of the help of one integration. So similarly, I can give example of various tools. Let's say I have done integration with SAS or DAST or various tool. I don't need to go to the tool and do the analysis in orchestration platform itself. I can do the triaging. I can create the ticket. I can analyze and do the analysis of the entire data. Even I can create a multiple dashboard and I can share with the team. So basically, it reduces the workload of security engineer, and it gives the holistic view of the application or of the various business unit which you have, and what are all applications are applicable to your business unit. Basically, you will get the entire posture of your application. Even you can integrate with various infrastructure tool, various log management systems like logz.io, or maybe with different IAC tools which are there in the market, maybe with RASP. So even you can do integration with threat modeling with the help of orchestration platform. So that flexibility is there. Means there is a centralized place from where you can do the triaging, do the analysis, and share the dashboard with the team. So that is the whole purpose. And even some tools are there which help you to manage your release processes. Like in case of, I can give the example of armor code, where you can you know have the flexibility to define the release management criteria, how much high, how much critical you have within your pipeline, and then you can restrict the release based on uh, the criteria which you have set. So that flexibility tools are giving to you. So earlier, the primitive approach, what people were following, that have been restricted, and people are going with orchestration platform, because industry also realized that you cannot uh, go to multiple tools and you cannot manage the processes. You have to manage processes at one place, at centralized place. So that is the reason the orchestration has come into play.
Yeah, so it's overall improves the efficiency and effectiveness of AppSec workflow.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. So, running a big cybersecurity firm or any firm requires many strategies. So, and nowadays threats and vulnerabilities are rising day by day. Like every day, a new
Yeah.
vulnerability is there, new exploit is there, new CV is there. So, how does that impact the process of strategy making in the and keeping in mind the compliance and pen testing scenarios?
Yeah, so that is also a very good question which you have asked. Basically, as I said, that there was primitive approach earlier. People were running the tools and getting the report and sharing with the team. But nowadays, the entire workflow has been changed. Now people, integrate your tools within the pipeline, and they do the continuous monitoring of the threat vulnerabilities by doing also the threat modeling. Whenever any infra changes or whenever any change is there in the application, they do the threat modeling, and they identify the issue which are applicable to them. And then and there, like, there is a concept called security by design. So in design itself, you will implement your security, so you no need to go back and forth. So in design phase itself, you identify the security by doing threat modeling, or by identifying the your overall architecture. And after that, in pipeline itself, you have integrated multiple tools. So what will happen? Whatever new threat, for example, log4j happened, you then and there itself, you identified that there is a log4j issue in your code, and you can fix that issue, and then probably you can go for the release. So that strategy, nowadays people are implementing, and that is very useful. Earlier, there was concept of uh, people were not following the agile methodology. Waterfall was there, so that was the also reason. So yeah, so integrating your tool within the pipeline, and you are always ahead uh, in terms of coverage.
Okay. So, in a big company, there are multiple stakeholders, which may be IT people or they may not be some IT guys. So, how do you approach communicating them about the importance of compliance and auditing, which may only prioritize the visible aspects of cybersecurity, like pen testing or bug bounty or something?
Yeah, basically, as I already said, that people are saying that security is not compliance. Compliance is not security. That is the typical term people use. But yeah, various controls, if you have, and if that controls are applicable to you, you have to implement that. If your compliance is saying that code review has to be there, so it has to be there. It it is not only on paper, but within the company, you have a process where you will do the code review. So that is important. And why it is important? Because it is a part of compliance. That is one point. And another point, it will also give you the clarity where you are lagging in terms of in terms of security. Because if something is wrong, or some you have buggy code within the application, then probably you can try and restrict that then and there itself, rather than going to roll out the application and then eventually identify, "Arey, that issue is there," and we got stuck. So what happened with Log4j? We have seen that people have that Log4j library within the code, and a lot of applications are running. And it was not the new issue which has been identified. It identified long back, but only the exploit was not available. But when it is available, people were blown away with everything. They even don't even know how to fix that issue, basically, because everybody is not using orchestration platform. If orchestration platform is there, so probably you can put only the log4j in the filter, and all the issues which are applicable to your application will come up there. And probably you will quickly and easily identify which application has log4j issue. But that doesn't happen with everyone. The reason is, no one means very rarely people use orchestration platform. So so it's very important to do the continuous monitoring of your application throughout the SSDLC process. I'm not saying SS. SDLC process, but SSDLC process, secure software development lifecycle.
Okay, yeah. So it is important to get a complete visibility of your entire resources and assets which you are using.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That continuous monitoring is very important of your all asset, all application, all services.
Yeah. Apart from orchestration, there is another fascinating term nowadays in cybersecurity, DevSecOps. So, how do you see integration of security practices in DevSecOps, and what role does compliance play in those integrations?
Yeah, yeah. So as I said that means I have already answered this question a few minutes back. Like earlier, I said that people were running the tool and identifying the issues. That was the primitive approach. And then now the what DevSecOps is basically, it is nothing but the integrating of your security tool within the pipeline. That is nothing but the DevSecOps. Like within the development, you are implementing the security, right?
Yeah.
And secure by design, that is also the concept which also a part of DevSecOps. Like uh, while doing the development itself, you are implementing the security, so you don't have to roll out the product with bug, product with with a lot of security issues. So the concept of DevSecOps started blooming nowadays.
Yeah.
And it and basically it is the need of an hour. Basically, it means people have to have multiple security tools in the pipeline, and uh, before itself they know what are all issues are there in the code, rather than releasing and then identifying.
So, as attacks are increasing, we also need some new technologies and new methodologies to keep ourselves secure.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
do you feel that compliance and auditing is a bit underrated in comparison to bug bounty, pen testing, and stuff? And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it is underrated, no doubt. The reason people always think compliance and auditing as a boring subject, they don't look it as a career perspective in most of the cases. Yeah, like nowadays, we have seen that a lot of freshers are more fascinated and more interested and inclined towards the bug bounties and more towards the offensive part
yeah.
rather than the defensive. Because and but as per my understanding and as per my knowledge, whatever I have, uh, we should more focused on defensive side of the security, and that industry means that is what industry is looking into. They want more people who can manage their application security program, who can play major role in defensing their defensing their entire application or entire processes, rather than the offensive part. Because offensive, a lot of other platforms are there in the market, like for example, hacker one is there, cobalt is there, bug crowds are there, lot of bug bounty platforms are there where you can put your application and you can secure your application. But in terms of defending your application, it totally depend on the employees who are working there, and the security team which are working there. And yeah, as you said, that compliance and auditing, it's again, it's all about controls which are applicable to you. And if I tell you about auditing, basically there are multiple phases in auditing. One is the implementer, where implementer will implement all the controls within the organization. And there is another part which is called as internal audit, where internal auditor will identify that those controls are applicable to you, and uh, whatever rules, whatever regulations, or whatever clauses are there that have been implemented, or any NC is there, means non-conformity is there, then internal auditor will raise those non-conformity, and then eventually it will go to the management, and then management will decide whether that NC will be fixed or not, and then they will go for the external audit. So this is the entire audit process. Uh, and it's very important for the industry, because if you have best security team but you don't have certification, then probably your customer won't take your product, because customer are also very specific nowadays. They want because that is the regulatory requirement, because you cannot sell your product in EU if if your application has healthcare information and you don't compliant with GDPR. So that is the reason people are, uh, people are more focused on compliance. But yeah, the outside community knows, means especially the fresher, they are little aware about the compliance and auditing. So yeah, but it plays a major role in various companies, especially in big organization. And another part which I observed, that when the organization is, small, like startups, it is very easy to get the certification. Whereas when the organization big, where multiple processes are there, multiple business units are there, it's very difficult to get the certifications.
Okay, yeah. So their assets expand, so it takes more time to audit, and there may be
Yes,
multiple.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So when you are small, you can get multiple certification, because it's very easy to implement those processes, because compliance is all about having the right processes at right time at right place. If you don't have right processes at right time and at right place, so probably you won't get certification.
So, do you think anything can be done to highlight the importance of compliance among the community or newcomers who are coming nowadays in cybersecurity?
Yeah, yeah, it could be done. Like nowadays, the whatever blogs are coming, or whatever, uh, you know uh, awareness which is coming through LinkedIn or through blogs, they are more on defensive, more on offensive side, as well as on defensive side as well. But no one is talking about compliance, because again, it's again the requirement which comes from the industry. And as I said, that it's a very boring task to check the controls and get all the evidences, and then once evidences is ready, show it to the internal or external auditor. So it could be done. Maybe we can do it in a other way around, like uh, when we are saying that secure code review, so we can give the clause that this clause requires secure code review. If someone is saying pen testing, so we can give that this clause is applicable for pen testing. So yeah, pen testing is important because it is also required for compliance. So we can do in that way, rather than putting all the clauses and asking someone to read this or uh, get evidences for that. So it can be uh, take up in other way around.
So, what role artificial intelligence can play in ensuring compliance for a company?
Yeah. So basically, as per my knowledge, uh, so far no one has used artificial intelligence for this. But yeah, there are some tools in the market which are more focused on continuous compliances. Like I have seen tool like Drata, which they have done a good job, where you can do the continuous compliance. Continuous monitoring means uh, throughout the year or throughout the days, you can do the monitoring. You no need to go back and forth that this evidence is not there. You have a centralized place where you have all the evidences. You can do integration with GitHub, where you will get the clear picture. You can also integrate with AWS account. So they have done a very good job there. Only the processes which are more towards documentation, like the background policy check, or some other clauses which are typically typically uh, more, I can say, document towards documentation side, that are not, which are manual. Basically those processes which are manual, that we cannot do integration. But those processes which can be easily track with the help of some tool, we can track it. Like if you wanted to identify who has committed on particular Git repository, that we can do with the help of Data. They have done a very good job there. And who means, for example, there are 100 people who are doing work on the repository. You will always have that data, that who are all doing work on that particular repository, who have access to that repository. So that you can do that, you can track with the help of Data. But yeah, the processes which are manual, you cannot do that. Again, we are lagging there, and that will be there forever, because you cannot automate those processes. It's basically background check or background verification. You cannot automate. Only you can upload the result. That's it. You apart from that, you can't do much. So yeah, AI will play a role. Only you can automate those controls which can be automated, but all controls won't able we won't able to do it in future as well.
It can be only implemented to some till some extent. Manual intervention will
Yes,
always there.
absolutely, absolutely. Compliance is something which is uh, manually means manual driven. You cannot do it automatically.
So there is one answer which everyone wants to know. Like, how do you balance your work and other life? Like, working also, then getting updates of cybersecurity community also. Like, what's new is coming, what is getting old. So, how do you keep a balance of that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Basically, means when we start our day, we start our day by reading the multiple blogs, multiple security channels. We start our day with that. We are always prepared that which new vulnerability or which flaws has been identified. And also we use different platforms like Hacker News, where we get there is also another one, dark reading is there. So a lot of other platforms are there with the help of which we can easily get the details uh, before starting our day itself. So that's what typically I follow. I also go through the various blogs on LinkedIn. I already joined multiple communities which are always there, who releases new issues which have been identified in the market, various breaches which are identified. That is the means social media. Basically, we can say that they are more powerful than anything else. So that keep you always updated, and that is a part of your job. Means you don't need to do things like differently. Within your job you have to do these things. Means if I am saying that I will work for 12 hours and or 8 hours, and after that I will do some research and I will learn about this, that won't happen. It has to go side by side. Like if I'm doing my job, at the same time I need to be updated, because if any updation is there and if I miss that, then eventually it will impact the current organization, because that may be applicable to the current organization as well. So that is what typically I do, and probably most of the guys who are working in cybersecurity, they also follow the same.
Yeah, they may same follow same, and they must have they may have some different strategies to update themselves. But it is crucial to keep you yourself updated regularly.
Yes.
So, how about we end this with some advice for freshers or beginners who are coming in cybersecurity field, and emphasizing on the importance of all around aspect of cybersecurity rather than just pen testing.
Yeah, so my only advice to all freshers is there that the cybersecurity industry is big. It's not about only pen testing. A lot of other verticals are there where you can have your means you can look into. For example, there are different verticals like you can if means it's always depend on the industry which you are looking into. Like for example, if you wanted to go in services, I mean service industry, where they are more focused into pen testing. If you are going for product industry, so they look someone who is from research background, who have worked on multiple tools, who have overall idea of the security, also the pen testing. If you're looking for SOC, then they are more towards incident management. So and if someone is looking for compliance, then it is more towards auditing. So there are different aspect and different variants are there where people can have their career. But it depends on individual basically in which segment they wanted to go into. So yeah, I can say that security means security is not only about pen testing. It has different variant where people can have their career. Also, one specific thing which I wanted to mention here, like nowadays people are looking for someone who run their application security program. So basically, a lot of orchestration platforms are there. They have done a fantastic job of getting the results and doing the evaluation. But at the same time, running the application security program is the need of an hour. So basically, we can see multiple openings in this area soon.
Yeah, that's some great advice for freshers. So,
Yeah,
thank you for sharing such great insights and joining me for today's episode. I am sure that everyone will learn something new with this podcast.
yeah. And thank you so much for having me here once again. You were catching me from long time, and eventually time has come. We are connected.
Uh, that's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will drop your links for social in the description so people can connect with you and have their doubts clear if they have any.
Sure, sure, sure. I'm always there.